All right, to you, Chair Bill Cox, we should be live.
Okay, thank you. So good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call our Sustainability Advisory Committee to order for Thursday, June 26th, 2025 at 1:13 p.m. First, we'll do our land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Kavamonigan is located on the Treaty 20 Michi-Sagi territory in the traditional territory of the Michi-Sagi Anishinaabe. We offer our gratitude to First Nations for their care and for their teachings about these lands. May we honor these teachings. And just quickly, I'd like to welcome two of our new committee members, Mike Ryan and Michael Cole, joining us today for the first time. And then now I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda. If I could have a mover and a seconder for that.
Happy to move.
Thank you, Ryan, to seconder. Thanks, Lisa. And then Mark will do a recorded vote.
Yep. Chair Bill Cox.
Yes.
Ryan Huntley. Sorry, Deputy Mayor Huntley.
Yes.
Mike Ryan.
I wasn't here, but yes.
Michael Cole.
Yes.
And Lisa Crawford.
Yes.
That is carried.
Thanks, Mark. Does anyone have any disclosure of pecuniary interest? No, great, moving forward. The next is our minutes from our last meeting held January 30th, 2025, quite some time ago. Mark circulated those. If there's no concerns or comments, then I'd like to look for approval of the minutes. Could I have a mover and a seconder?
Yeah, happy to move.
Thanks, Ryan. And we have a seconder. Thanks, Lisa. And then Mark will do a recorded vote for us.
Michael Cole.
Approve.
Deputy Mayor Huntley.
Approve.
Chair Bill Cox.
Approve.
Lisa Crawford.
Yes.
And Michael Ryan.
Yes.
Excellent. It is carried.
Thanks, Mark. And then moving forward to agenda item number 6. Today we have with us Steve Paul from Second Nature Studio. Some of you may remember Steve was one of our partners at our recent Earth Day event back in April. Steve's doing some really exciting and hugely beneficial things in the community. So he's here today to talk to us about his initiatives and as well kind of, what opportunities there are for collaboration moving forward. So Steve, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Leslie. Hi, everyone. My name is Steve Paul, and I actually started an organization or a volunteer group called Clean Up Peterborough, April 2024. So it's only been in existence for just over 14 months. And the very quick origin story is I got tired of seeing litter on my local trail. So I started picking it up, and that sort of evolved into setting up a couple of community cleanups. And as the 2 cleanups went very successfully, I started actually doing more and more within the community. Managed to have a small grant that allowed me to focus on targeting cigarette butt litter within the city of Peterborough last year. And then I just kept sort of the snowball rolling to get more and more involved with what I could focus on to better the community. And again, I was able to meet everyone on Earth Day. And we specifically at that point were talking about what Clean Up Peterborough could do for the community, as well as collecting a variety of items for reuse and recycle. And I'm happy today to talk about a couple of different initiatives. The one specifically that I'm here to talk about today is Second Nature Studio. So Second Nature Studio is sort of an idea that I've had for a while. One of the things that I ended up finding was when I was out doing my cleanups, I would see an awful lot of plastic around, soft plastic, hard plastic, and I started doing some counts and inventory for myself about the varieties of plastic that I would end up seeing. So doing some research online, you end up finding that we have about a 9% national recycling rate, which is very low across the country. And I started looking at a variety of different plastics that, what would cause it to not go through the recycling process, which ones are more recyclable, et cetera. And so I came up with an idea. I had an opportunity to pitch for a grant through the Rotary Club with the Environmental Innovators Fund grant. And at the time when I pitched it, I wasn't actually sure if I was going to be able to receive it. But the goal from it was to focus on turning it from the community cleanups into sort of a hands-on model for education and outreach, and focusing on what we can do to repurpose plastic. So Second Nature Studio was selected for a grant. Out of the $3,000 that I actually pitched for, I was first awarded $1,000. And that limited my scope of what I was originally planning to do with the full $3,000 ask. But Rotary Club has since come back to me, and they have actually found additional money. So I'm actually being topped up to the full $3,000 that I'm actually planning to start with. So now I can actually enact my full 1-year plan for the full Rotary grant. So we're going to start talking about that. So next slide, please.
Continue.
Continue. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
So basically, one of the big things, that's one before that. There we go. So one of the big challenges that I ended up finding is when you look at specifically number 2, which is high density polyethylene, and number 5, polypropylene. They're very well adapted to being used for production, and a lot of what we end up using touches it. What we eat and what we use for cleaning and a variety of different plastics across our whole entire spectrum of what we use. But basically, a lot of the plastics end up becoming misidentified, or they get caught up in the collection system. So the best way I would describe it is, the smaller the plastic, the less likely it is to make it to the very end. So an example I have here with me is going to be a pill bottle. Pill bottle, the plastic is completely recyclable, but if it's carrying a full label on it, the identifier can't see what it is. And so it usually will bypass the actual system. If the lid happens to be there, or we have drink lids that are really small, they traditionally won't make it to the end of the recycling process. So they end up falling through the cracks or falling off of the conveyor. And one of the ones I'll talk about as well will end up being black plastic. The optical eye on a conveyor belt in the MRF won't be able to see black plastic. So traditionally, most municipalities ban black plastic, but it doesn't mean that it's not produced. It means that it can't go through the recycling process. So it tends to almost all be diverted to the landfill. So I started to focus on what could I actually work on to not just take what goes into a regular blue box, but find items that I could specifically work on to bring those forward. And so the next slide. What we're actually looking at with the grant from the Rotary Club is to launch a circular micro recycling hub. And originally it's going to focus on diverting the number 2 and number 5 plastics that I've mentioned. I have some samples that I won't be able to show, obviously, on camera, but maybe I can send something out afterwards. I've been doing some work with a panini press to do some very basic melt tests to record melting temperatures and to see what it looks like if you play around with it. But that's not the basis of what I'm actually focusing on doing. On the left there, you're going to see is a shredder that's actually meant to shred plastics. And that will actually be able to do about 30 pounds of plastic per hour, which I don't have that much at this point. But I'll be able to sort it by plastic type, and then by color, and then shred by color, and then store by shredded by color. And then I can actually use that plastic in a variety of different ways of repurposing. In the center is a heat press that's actually 15 inches by 15 inches. And I'll be starting off by making small 15 by 15 sheets. And then on the right side there is a CNC computerized router. I'll be able to take that 15 by 15 inch sheet, load up computerized designs, and cut it into whatever I want it to be. So the best way I would describe it would be, if I wanted to make something to promote Canada Day, I could actually choose some red and white plastics and make it into a cool blend. And I could go ahead and create a sheet of plastic that would allow me to have some unique designs with the actual item I'm trying to cut. If I wanted to do something for Christmas, it would be green, white, red, etc. And there's unlimited amounts of color that I could actually blend into different items. And again, this is going to be sponsored by the Rotary Club, but I can speak to it as well. I am actually working with a space partnership with the city of Peterborough, which I can speak about in a second as well. So what I'm actually targeting right now, because I found that with myself, everything that I've done through Clean Up Peterborough since December, January this past year, where I started collecting items for reuse and recycle, people kept coming up to me and say, would you take this? Would you take that? And what I didn't mention, I don't think it's on my slides here, but I initiated the Writing Instrument Challenge, which is a goal to collect 50,000 writing instruments by the end of June, which of course is coming Monday. That is an example of plastic that doesn't go in your recycle bin. And there's a company called TerraCycle that actually takes it for specialized recycling. So taking that into consideration, I thought, well, what else could we do? And people kept talking to me about prescription pill bottles. So I'm actually launching something called the Pill Bottle Project. And what I've already done is I've gone to, not all of them, but I've been reaching out to vet clinics and pharmacies across mostly Peterborough and some of the townships. And our goal is to collect through those pharmacies and vet clinics, and then even going into nursing homes, pill bottles that I can actually shred and repurpose to other items. And it's been very well received. So we'll be able to do 100% diversion from these items. And then it's also had a pharmacy that's come to me and said, what about the other bottles, the vitamin supplements, the acetaminophen bottles, all those white and colored bottles that go in your medicine cabinet? I could actually take those as well. But the thing is going to be, I have to have it clean, and I have to have the label that will be able to peel off it and clean. Because if not, I'll be spending 50 hours a week removing labels, which I won't be able to do. So again, once these plastics are shredded, we'll be able to repurpose them into a variety of items. And I'll talk about this on one of the next slides as well. So,
Next one.
no, we'll go back.
Names.
Oh, no, we're fine. The one thing I'll say before we go is that it's estimated about 600 million pill bottles actually are prescribed in Canada. And about 2 million of them are actually prescribed within Peterborough. So that gives you an example of how much bypasses the landfill. So now next slide, sorry. So one thing I've actually been working on right now is I've already been working with downtown cafes. I have a program in place called Weave Hope Campaign. It's not on the slide deck, but I've actually been working with Calvary Church to collect milk bags, the outer colorful milk bags that are used to actually weave mats for the unhoused. And so a program I created with that is to target collecting these milk bags. And so I do it on a bi-weekly run. And so I made these relationships with a variety of downtown cafes. And I've already started talking to them about collecting other plastic items from their facilities. And through word of mouth, other restaurants and some other businesses are coming on board, particularly also with the Writing Instrument Challenge, where we have 85 different areas collecting them right now. Some of those have plastics, obviously, that might be able to be diverted. And so when we look at a couple of the other items that I'm looking to target, when I mentioned about black plastic, there is still a multitude of black plastic takeout containers that are being used in our society. So I would be looking at targeting those for shredding and recycling. And I don't know where this next one is going to go, but it's funny, when we were at the Rotary Awards, somebody from Green Up approached me and said, what about pots, plant pots? There's a billion of them everywhere. And we all know that there's places like Green Up and all the nursery centers that have access to them. But it was Green Up that came to me and said, we have way too many. And even Johnson's Greenhouse came to me and said, what do we do with these? So if there's a way to have them cleaned, I am not looking to shred all of them because they have a really high reuse aspect. But we could also look at a way to make sure that they don't go into the recycling stream, potentially the landfill for the ones that are really tiny. If you see the one photo in the center, obviously, there's lots of different sizes, and a lot of them are very well recycled. But again, the smaller they get, the less likely they're going to make it to the end. And on the very right side, There's a lot of containers in the hair care, beauty care. Think about everything we use from shaving to personal grooming to doing work within our laundry side. Most of those are all recyclable, but again, if they have labels on them, sometimes with the caps and lids, they don't make it all the way to the end. So I might be looking to use some of those as well. And I wanted to mention that everything that I do is volunteer and grassroots today. Everything that we're doing is being, openly shared by Stat Collecting, and we're going to be sharing this with the community to see what we can do. So next slide. What I'm actually able to say today is that we're looking to finalize fine details, but the city and I have talked, and the city is actually looking to provide me, City of Peterborough, I should say, a space within the city that will allow me to, within about 800 or 1,000 square feet, open up an area that would allow me to run this micro upcycling recycling hub that I've been wanting to focus on. So it's very exciting, and it's not on my slide deck because it literally happened over the last couple of days. And so what I actually wanted to do with the space is to obviously collect my plastics, clean, shred, store, repurpose, do all that with the equipment that I have. But then when I mentioned about cigarette butts at the beginning and reading instruments, those are items that are collected through TerraCycle. TerraCycle has 30 different free recycling programs that they offer through their website. And so some of them are going to be food related, which we don't want to bring in, but items through hair care and personal care, we actually might be looking to bring as many as possible into that space. And my volunteers with myself can also work at collecting, boxing, shipping from that location. So it's much more beyond even the Second Nature Studio project. What I wanted to do with the space is to use it for outreach and education. And I do have a side grant that I'm applying for that will allow me to do some mobile education. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to be in schools, talking to students as well at the university and college level too. But with the space that I have that may be coming, which again, date to be determined, I'll be able to have sort of workshops and seminars, pop-up events, and makerspace sessions on site. And I'm actually very excited about the opportunity for that. So my goal is to support small business and again, try to get the public more involved with the circular economy, and then also work at the municipal level to help the city and the townships and the county reduce their landfill numbers in terms of diverting as much plastic as we can do. So these are some examples, and there's so many. I've met people from all over the world, and I regularly talk to locations in Australia, the UK, New Zealand, and like so many. I could go on and on and on. US, Canada as well. Just to give you some examples, up in the very top left is an example of a CNC router.
My apologies.
A CNC router that's actually used to cut a tray, a couple of trays, a cell phone stand, and a laptop stand in the top left in the blue. And so that is just pieced together, and that could be used for your laptop. In the center is something made in Greece. It's actually a wall clock, if you obviously didn't get that. And it just uses the router to cut the circle, cut the spaces, cut the center, and then you can actually put the mechanisms together. Top right is used from California, which is clipboards. Bottom left is also in Australia. If you don't get, there's a kiwi there, some sharks, dolphins and turtles cut into some keychains. The very right side is from the UK in the bottom right, where they have a variety of different colors that you can make. And it's almost unlimited. And then in the center would be example from taking it to its waste form to a sheet form. So that would be an example of what I would have with a 15-inch sheet. And there's like the color variations are unlimited, and each one is a unique design from each sheet created because you can't replicate it. So up in the top right is going to be an example of a USB key that's used. The second from the left in the center is beads that are used for obviously bracelets or can be used for necklaces. Very quick, funny part of it is the sunglasses is actually a woman in California that uses prescription pill bottles. All she gets is prescription pill bottles sent to her from all over the United States, and she makes nothing but sunglasses and coasters. And then we have carabiners in the top right. The ones on the bottom are all a variety of different things. You can see it includes a tic-tac-toe game, some plant pots, combs, again, other sorts of keychains. There's unlimited ways you can do it. And the one thing I do want to say is that now that I know where I'm going with the space, I'm going to be looking to upgrade to have another grant allow me to buy something that would be called or classified as an injection mold machine. And that injection mold machine allows me to make most of the items that are on there. So then you can make the carabiners and the glasses and the beads, etc. So as soon as I have something like that, it's a real game changer with what we can actually end up doing. So opportunities to collaborate. Before I just quickly go through that, what I've actually found and what's evolved even over the last couple of days is not only do I have the space, but I've had companies within the Peterborough community that make 3D printer items. And that 3D printer waste is from a plastic called PLA. And that is something that we're actually considering using as well. Its melt temperature is between the HDPE and the PP that we have on there. And then people have also approached me and asked me, what about low density polyethylene, which an example would be the cap inside the lid. And there's a whole variety of plastics for that. There's now 4 potential plastics that I can use that are within that temperature range that I could expand immediately once I have my space. So that's where I'm going at this point. What we can actually do together is potentially, again, we've been lucky to have the writing instrument collection here, but we could look at doing a pilot plastic collection, a bin somewhere within the community, or have a community drop off. An example we did on Earth Day was when we had people bring me batteries, writing instruments, milk bags, egg cartons, and all that. It was really well received, which I was very thankful for. Because I'm getting into the education and outreach, we could co-host an educational event, host a workshop, I could come and do a school program, etc. And most likely what I'm interested in, I've talked to Carrie Snoddy at the county level, but I'd really like to delve into the county diversion numbers and see if we can work on items that we can target together to make our numbers even more attainable and divert as much as we can. And again, my goal is always to explore space, look for more opportunities to collaborate, to support, and find more funding opportunities for scale and outreach. Leslie, we had mentioned right at the very beginning how much I've grown even before I came here in March. April, sorry. It's even grown exponentially, even more than that. And so I'm hoping that one day I'll be able to outgrow the space that I'm at, even before I've even started with the city of Peterborough, and potentially find some space even outside in the county that allows me to have a little bit larger scale. But I'm not ever going to try to compete with MTerra, for example, and do all that. My goal, because I'm here, is obviously to work with, Kevin Monaghan to see if we can work together to champion our community to really embrace a circular model of plastic reuse. And the one last thing I would say before we get to the final slide is I don't have an environmental sciences degree. I actually came to this from, again, the guy that picked up litter on his local trail. And everything I've done to this point is learn, collaborate, and grow. And what I'm most happy to do is to take what I've learned and share it with others. I have no knowledge that I want to retain for myself. I want to share it with others because I can't do it alone. We can only do it together. So whatever I can do to actually help Kevin Monaghan be successful in projects like this, I'm more than happy to collaborate for sure. So last slide. So the 3 things I just kind of wanted to mention very quickly. The very bottom, I would say, I'm not here to actually say, let's use more plastic. I will always talk about reducing over recycle because I do believe in the multiple R's of sustainability and the circular economy. But the reality is, in the top quote, the plastic's already here. If we had a 95% recycling rate, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So because we have a low recycle rate, and I think our county rates between 30 and 40%, something like that, the plastic's already here. So, you know, what do we use it for? Can we use it for good? Rather than blindly putting it in a recycle bin and hope it gets recycled. And I know from my cleanups and people I've talked to within the municipalities, wish cycling is a very big thing. If it goes in our bin, we think it's going to be recycled, but it's okay because I've done my part. And that's not really the case. And one of the things I'm happy to say is that with the project that I'm focusing on, I want to be 100% transparent. Everything we do keeps it local so that we're not just putting it on a truck, going to wherever. It's not so much for Peterborough, but when you get into Toronto where things travel hundreds of kilometers to be disposed of, we're going to make sure it stays local. We can actually work on transparency together and lower our emission rates. Plus, what I'm most excited about is the opportunities for education outreach. And what I've done through my cleanups, people have been really receptive to what I've done on the cleanup side, but now we want to tackle that more in a broader level to focus on how we can scale up to obviously more of a circular economy model. And the biggest thing I learned from somebody that runs Zero Plastics in Australia is plastic isn't waste unless you waste it, which is true because I'm looking to use it as a resource. And that's something I've learned a lot, and that's why I wanted to share with others. So,
Excellent.
yeah. So there's my contact information there. I do have Clean Up Peterborough on Instagram and Facebook. Second Nature Studio does not have a page or a channel on its own yet, but because of the opportunities that are coming, I have a feeling there's going to be a few different variations of rebranding and scaling. Leslie, did you want me to say the one last thing about the Eco Fair I mentioned at the beginning?
Sure, yes, yeah.
So it's not official yet, but I can mention it. I've actually pitched to the city, and someone can, if you wanted to look it up, you can. I'm planning to put together a package to share the different municipalities. If you look up something called Remarket, it's actually run down in the St. Lawrence Market down in the Toronto area. And they actually have this large eco fair where they bring in all kinds of items under sort of reuse and recycle. And they bring in repair cafe, bike repair, tool libraries, etc. I pitched to the city the idea of bringing that to Peterborough, and they actually accepted it. So the city is going to actually host it. Clean Up Peterborough is going to organize it. I don't have the exact date. I don't have the exact location yet, but that should be done really quickly because I would like to organize it. And my goal is to get a lot of the places within Peterborough and even the county that I believe in the circular economy space to come in and have everything under one roof. And it allows us to take in a lot of items for diversion and then use that space to educate and outreach as well. So when I have more information, I'm more than happy to talk about it as well. Because I'm super excited about it. And my goal is that it's going to become an annual event or even semi-annual in April for Earth Month and October for Waste Reduction Month. So lots of opportunities, lots of growth. And I'm just thankful to be here today and I appreciate you having me. So
Thanks so much, Steve. That was really informative and just so impressed with, you know, the work that you've done that just started from really was born out of frustration based on littering, and now you've come so far. So it's, you know, it's very, makes me feel very hopeful that there's people out there who are so committed to making a difference. So thanks for coming today. And then are you okay if we spend some time for questions?
absolutely, yeah, I'm all for it. So
All right, well, I'll open it up to the rest of the committee first, if anyone has any questions for Steve.
I do, yeah. To you, Chair. I'm curious about when you're talking about the stuff at recycling sorting stations that get kind of knocked to the side and end up into the landfills. Is there a way to intercept that?
So I would love to say yes. And the one thing that I find, and again, because I'm just starting out and I don't have 20 years of background to get into it. I have actually asked Emterra to have a tour of the facility and watch how things go. And I don't want to say anything about Emterra, but they won't let me in. So I believe that there's obviously, you know, not secrecy, but it is what it is. My goal is eventually to get behind the scenes to see it from start to finish. Because what I don't get is two things. One, the items that are going on the conveyor belts that are falling off are still there. So how does that not get put back on again? And then number two, when I mentioned about black plastic, it's 2025. How does most sorting systems not be able to use AI or other tools to see black plastic? You think of anything that's black that you've ever had at your home, and we showed all those plant pots, right? That's usually what, like they won't be recycled either. So I would love to find a way either through Carrie Snoddy in the county or start making a few more connections to go behind the scenes. I'm not there to make Emterra or any other organization an enemy. I just want to solve problems and see what we can do together. Because I imagine that they just don't have the time to dig through it all. I've been at the Pido Road facility, and when you see when things come off the trucks, there's stuff flying. When you get there inside the building, there's paper and plastic flying. So my assumptions are that there are ways to increase our rates, but the rates across the whole entire country are pretty low. And a lot of it is because of mixed plastic and then not being able to identify what the plastics are because of labels, et cetera. So if there's more that we could do, we would go from there. So
You say mixed plastic. Are these items going to be considered mixed plastic?
no, so the one, so everything I have on this table here, everything is number 5 plastic, except for the lids that go on top of a bottle. So just to give you an example of what is actually not bad about a mixed plastic, a Coke bottle would be PET, number 1, and the lid on it is number 2. That goes to the sorting facility, it gets shredded, and then it gets, oh, it's all together. But then they use water to displace the number 2 from number 1. And so they do have ways to sort the rest of it. But the smaller it is, and you have like your number 1 bottle with like a number, I don't know, 4 or 5 screw top lid or a pump cap, a lot of those can't be recycled properly. And with a label on it, it can't even be seen what it is. So a lot of them just get diverted. So what I'm focusing on doesn't involve the mixed plastics. But the one thing I would say with your question is whatever I end up making will always be a number 2 or always be a number 5 or always be a number 4 or always be PLA. When I'm done with it, it actually can be recycled, provided that it's large enough. So the offcuts of things that I end up using, I can actually just shred them and repurpose them again. So I'm not looking to waste anything. And that's why I wanted to get involved in the PLA or the printer waste for the 3D printing, because I've seen a lot of that purge waste and it's massive. And so there's so many more things I think we're just scratching the surface on what we can actually do. But my goal is to try to keep them as clean as possible. So
what is your plan when you make things out of this plastic? What will you do with those products?
So what I will end up doing to start off with would be on the R&D side. So looking at those items that are up there, I will be using various designs to maybe make keychains or make clipboards or make coasters, for example. My goal would be to do a combination of selling them and then also using them for education purposes. What I love most about some of the education programs that I've seen is that, again, my shredder is not portable. I wish it was, but it wasn't. If I was to go to a fair or a school, if I could be portable enough where I could actually teach kids to say, hey, let's make something together. And maybe we use the Panini press because I have it with me. Then my goal would be to give things to the kids as a way for them to learn and have a token to take away. And then when I do community outreach, the same thing. So I need to be able to have an arm that sells to be able to make some funds for the venture that we're doing. But a combination of that would be to use it for outreach, education, and then again, just plain research as well. So.
To you, Chair Bill Cox. Clerks actually have a rare question over here.
Yeah.
Interesting presentation. By the way, in a previous job, I'm very familiar with the challenges around waste diversion and trying to keep plastic out of the landfill. So it's good to hear there's efforts to try improving this on the community level. The pill bottle project, very interesting, especially the numbers you put to it. I know you have a small prescription where you have a nasty cold. Usually if you go to the pharmacist, you get one of those small pill bottles. So that 2 million number for even the Peterborough area, can be very believable, especially if you consider populations that need a lot more medications. This is me wearing the clerk hat a little bit, but you have the labels that have people's personal information on that. Do you ask them when you're doing the collections, do you ask them to remove the labels in advance, or do you have a way of disposing the labels or a system? Because we always think about that. And you can't, when you're melting them, I presume you have to have the label itself removed beforehand.
Absolutely. So the easiest way I would answer that would be my bottles need to be clean and label free. And I don't necessarily mean that you could eat out of it, but obviously I wouldn't want medical waste inside it, nor should I have access to that.
Mhm.
So automatically when I walk into a pharmacy, they're like, well, you can't have the pills in it, which I don't want, and you can't have the personal information.
Mhm.
So anything to be dealt with at a pharmacy or a vet level, everything is removed from it. What I would also need from the community, and again, I put something out on my social media in a poll fashion. Tell me about what pharmacies have easy to peel labels and which pharmacies don't have easy to peel labels. More of them are easy to peel than not. But what I can afford is to have, again, 2 million pill bottles come to me and me sit there with Goo Gone or vegetable oil trying to like peel them all off. So I would say the lady that makes the sunglasses that we're showing on that photo, I don't know what her numbers are, but she has about a 95% rate of clean and like peel or peeled. So I don't want anyone's personal information at all.
Yeah.
So
Just to follow up on that one, like I've seen the recycling bin outside the pharmacy and it's full of pill bottles and they've removed the labels.
Mhm.
yeah, there are a couple that don't want to release it because they deem it as medical waste and they just throw it out. And so my hope is I have multiple pharmacies that do just recycle it. I would like to get the pharmacies together and acknowledge that, A, I'm not here to pimp out people's pills, right? I don't need any of that. So it doesn't have to be deemed medical waste. What I would say if I were to put my hat on to worry about liability, et cetera, what about somebody might say if there's fentanyl, right? I would deem what the pharmacies deem safe to me. So whatever they're putting in that recycle bin, I'm hoping is obviously going to be safe enough. And as long as it's clean enough, then I'm looking to take it. Same with the vet level. So
Yeah, that's great to hear, especially if you're collecting from this.
yeah, and I mean, even a couple of the nursing homes are the exact same way. I did a presentation at Sherbrooke Heights last week, and they're like, "Here, have all of these," and I'm like, "I'm not ready yet," but it's a good opportunity for sure, and that's why I wanted to do it. It's a unique opportunity. I just don't want to be like everyone else. I wanted to find something different, and a lot of it for me in my REEF grant proposal is research over that 1 year. So this is a learning curve for all of us, right? And my goal obviously is to bring in volunteers and ambassadors and train them from the ground up so that we can all learn together. I don't know what the melting temperature of PLA plastic is. Well, let's figure it out together, right? And that's going to be very strong for the community that we can actually use to set up sort of a volunteer ambassador army. And I'm happy to share that information at the municipality level as well. Not that you're going to need to know it, but I mean, if it helps you from a project perspective and from a safety perspective and how we could work together, I'm all for it. So.
Great. I have two quick questions for you, Steve. One's more of a clarifying question, just kind of thinking ahead in terms of, what the opportunities are to, perhaps support some of these initiatives and also educate the community. So with your existing Clean Up Peterborough, Take the Writing Instrument Challenge, for example, that's something that's almost like a pass-through for you, correct? Like you're educating the community, you're doing the collection, and then you will be taking those to TerraCycle to be recycled.
Yes, so I don't know if I've shared it with you all before. I can afterwards. I do actually have and it's off my Clean Up Peterborough Facebook page. But in early 2025, I put out a poster and it shows a variety of items that I take in for reuse and recycle. The items that I take in for reuse, I pretty much flip right away. So I take in the milk bags, I take in the egg cartons, and I flip them to Calvary Church or flip them to Kawartha Food Share right away. I don't hoard them,
Right.
nor do I want to. So I do want to be a pass-through for that. Some of the items I'm keeping for the Second Nature Studio project, so that's a bit different, but
Yeah. So I think it's just like, this is all very good information, and, getting down to a more granular level, I think is, perhaps not everyone, but I think many people in the community would appreciate that information to understand, what really happens when you throw something in your blue box. Like, what are the barriers to actually having that be successfully recycled? So I think that's where you can certainly play a part in raising awareness, but then also helping that understanding of, okay, what are opportunities for, pass through recycling, and like referring to, like, say, for example, the pen challenge. So Mterra, who is our recycling provider, they won't accept these pens, like these types of plastics. So it's, on one hand, it's setting up a mechanism or a process to allow people to still recycle these and know that they're not going to go to the landfill. So there's that education piece. But then Second Nature, based on kind of my understanding of what we spoke about, is you're looking at collecting different types of plastic, for example, pill bottles, black plastics, to essentially create reusable items, whether that be art, like more creative or more practical everyday use items. Is that would that be like an accurate representation of where you're heading?
absolutely. And again, when I mentioned that I have connections, I work with various cafes in downtown Peterborough. One of the cafes, Kit Croissanterie, they came to an event that I was at just almost 2 weeks ago. And she asked me practically if I would be able to provide her like a dough scraper. And she said, I could think of about 5 different things I could use in my kitchen right now. Could we work on that together? And so I've had another place talk to me about, can you help make us a sign?
Yeah. So
So,
that's looking at the reuse side of it, which is where Second Nature is coming into.
right. So it's offering some practical solutions
Right.
at a creative level, which is something I hadn't originally considered, but I'm glad that it can be even more practical from a like business to business, like a B2B level. So
Okay, and so really with the Clean Up Peterborough, that's also, I think, an avenue for the municipalities to look at how can we support um, getting these items to you, as opposed to just having them go into the landfill, like on an ongoing basis. Like looking at like the pens, the milk bags, the egg, like all of the things that you're able to kind of act as a pass-through entity for.
yeah, the one thing I would talk about, and again, I don't have an answer today, would be scale. Like even
Yeah,
just talking about the prescription pill bottle numbers.
yeah,
What does 2 million pill bottles look like, right? Um, as we grow, we will have to figure out, and I need to be nimble enough to work with pickup schedules, right? Um, for example, the writing instrument challenge, the county is a big proponent of supporting that. So the county is helping me collect when they're doing their drive arounds, some of the writing instruments, but I don't necessarily want to obviously always rely on municipalities. Some churches have come to me directly, some schools have come to me directly. I have if you haven't seen it, I have a Google map online that shows the 85 different locations for the writing instrument challenge.
Mhm.
My goal would be to set up a Google map for the entire entity of the collection projects. And then that would allow me to develop routes, which I would then work with either residents at municipalities that come into the Peterborough area or us having to go out.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't go to North Kawartha every 4 days to pick up. I wouldn't want to do that from a greenhouse gas emissions level, obviously. But maybe we can easily work with North Kawartha on if somebody's coming to Peterborough for a meeting. The
Yeah.
last thing I would say is my goal, for example, working with Kevin Monaghan, wouldn't be to have to have 15 like big wheelie recycle bins stuck in your back office because I haven't been to see you in 6 months.
Yeah.
Nor would I want you to have 15 bins in one day. So we're just going to have to plan based on scaling and be nimble and work with that accordingly. And whatever that looks like, I'm happy to sort of learn and grow together if that supports what I can do for the county and for the townships as well. So.
Okay, thank you. No, I think that kind of gives me some clarification, and certainly sounds like this is an avenue to fulfill an unmet need in the community with regards to these types of plastics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One last thing I would sort of say, sorry, the evolution out of the writing instrument challenge, again, is permanent recycling at the school level. So I would hope, I don't know, hopefully by September, both the Catholic and public school boards might be able to have collections at each of the schools. I have MNRF, for example, doing an internal collection. Just because June 30th is next Monday, there's no reason for them not to continue with it. So then I'd also be looking for municipalities to be involved. And where I'm going with that is if a school is actually going to collect writing instruments, I get how maybe schools don't want to collect pill bottles for safety of the kids, but maybe they can bring in 8 cartons, or maybe they can bring in milk bags, right? Whatever we can work on at that level, I think there could be some opportunities. Again, as long as I don't have to have an Mtera recycling truck running around every day on a weekly schedule because I don't have enough space. But if that's the worst thing I have to deal with, I'd rather have a scale issue than nobody being interested, because ultimately I have an idea for a not-for-profit entity that I'm going to form, which is where I was talking about the rebranding may come out of this, because I have a few other programs that I'm interested in bringing in that tie into that education and outreach. So it's sort of a whole entity of programs that can be available, and then also have an impact on tangible reduction numbers, obviously, for our landfill too. Because I know our landfill, last time I heard, we only had about 10 years left. So that's not a long time, obviously.
No.
So.
Okay, well, thanks. Yeah.
I have a comment.
Yeah.
This is all very amazing, and the education component that you're talking about really interests me. I think there's an international policy group working right now on something collective around plastics. And then I would like to connect you to that if possible. There's also, I think, have you been in contact with the Circular Innovation Council? And just as a overarching piece, the last slide you had up about reduction is key. I think it's just so important to frame this as every piece of plastic that's ever been created is still in existence. It doesn't biodegrade. It is a chemical. And even as we recycle it, it sheds more and more microplastics. So the reduction is just the biggest thing. Let's put the pressure out there. And what you're doing is highlighting that on a local scale. It's allowing to build these circular markets in Peterborough County, and to grow education. So I think that's just amazing.
Yeah, and it's my sort of counterpoint to that in a positive way is that I recognize that recycling is on the lower scale end of the multiple R's, whatever you look at. So again, repairing, repurposing, like I'm for all of that, which is why the partnerships with like Peterborough Repair Cafe, OPERG, Peterborough, the Free Market, the Tool Library, I would put my eggs in those baskets to use that as a circularity model to teach everyone. And then, yes, at the end, we do want to recycle. And yes, I do want to repurpose and do some things. But I have talked at length with Circular Innovation Council. And I know that there's a SRR hub, which is basically the share reuse repair hub. We have a little county collective of people that are looking to launch something similar to that at the Peterborough level. So I'm talking to the city, somebody else is talking to Carrie at the county level. So we have connections with the CIC, and so we'll be able to do even more. Like we're literally just scratching the surface at all of this, so.
Exactly. The black plastic farm pots and things like that. I know of farmers that collect direct from, but if there's some sort of way that we could streamline that, take it from the farms that are kind of mass producing plugs of trees, and get that to home gardeners that have, yeah, start our own
Yeah,
tree program.
Yeah,
I had a few things when we were done, but one of them was that exact thing, yeah. I think that's like an easy, not easy spot for one, but that's a big deal there that I feel like we could get involved in more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple other things I had, if I have a minute, I'd like to look at our CIP, because we do have a sustainability stream.
Mhm.
I don't know how, just the details of that, of not, like you're working in the township, and this all is great for our township, so I feel like it should be able to apply in that, but there might be some details of having to be located in the township, I'm not sure.
I thought that.
Yeah,
yeah, and to be fair, I'm a resident of Otonabee South Monaghan, I completely understand that, so.
but if the benefits here, there may be, we'll take,
Ways around it.
yeah, we'll take a look at the wording and see if it can.
Part of it for me was, I don't need to be the main driver. If some of these can be shared at the township level and you champion it, then I will support that fully and be involved with you side by side.
Yeah, so there's, so.
Yeah,
myself
we
and
can
the
definitely
deputy mayor can
chat.
Look into it.
Sure, absolutely.
Here for
Great.
that.
Anyone else have any questions? Sorry, Kyle, did I cut you off?
Sorry. We do have a transfer station, so I'm just wondering how this will unfold. I think we're all for partnering with you as much as we can, but yeah, to your point on scale, you don't wanna ramp up too fast or. Like I wonder if there's an opportunity at a transfer station, or if that's gonna be too big, if we set something up there to start collecting some of these things to really advertise to give people a place to go drop them off.
Yeah, I like that.
That's too much.
No, I don't think it is. Again, being a resident of Otonabee South Monaghan, have scratched the surface a little bit of that with them. We're not there yet, but the key thing, so the one thing I would say, what I've learned is that people have like batteries in a drawer, they have pens in a drawer, they've got everything in a drawer, and they never have the ability to take it all to one spot. They have to go here to drop off this and there to drop off that. There is Pido Road, and that is probably the most universal. But everyone I talk to appreciates when I have my cleanup events and I have my list of 13 items and people bring all of them to me, that is like a transfer station.
Yeah.
People appreciate what I would classify as a one-stop drop. And so if there was something we could do at that level, because to be clear, I'm not necessarily looking for you guys at your township office here to have 14 wheelie bins outside and taking 55 different types of plastic, right? If that's something that could be done at a transfer station level, that's probably almost even easier.
It would make sense to me, because we, not that we have the space, but that's what that place is there for, people are already coming there.
They're already sorting the recycling, right?
Yeah.
What's one more sort?
Exactly, and so we could have labeled bins or something like that, so maybe that's
Yeah.
something we take a look at, right?
Yeah, one thing I'm looking to do, again, I need to spend a bit more time with Carrie at the county level as well. Because I need to have her input, right? Her and then all the townships. So if there's a better idea, even beyond that, how to evolve it. I'm not set in any one model. This is all new, right? So I think this is gonna scale and grow pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So if we have that opportunity to find alternatives and then be nimble and even pivot a second or third time as needed, then we'll have to work on that, which I'm totally for, so.
Okay.
I was
I just have a quick comment. I'm sorry. It's not really a question. I just want to somewhat direct you to a point that you've made and just raise that with you. You talk about you've got a lot on the go, and honestly, I the way you started up is a model of grassroots community organizing, and that's to be commended. You talk about, you got a research grant for, plastic reuse, and that's fantastic. And you mentioned a few things like, doing research as to what you can produce with certain items and, what you can make with certain items. And that's fantastic on a local level. And, everyone's trying to encourage that, that's not a bar. But I think, the recycling industry is well developed and has been around for quite a long time, on an individual level, sure, we can, make things out of other things, and that's fantastic. And I think what you're talking about is a great piece of education, because education is really what's key when it comes to recycling, because most people put things in the bin, they don't really know anything about, what, Mterra is going to do with it, right? We throw plastic in. Most people don't even realize that plastic has different grades based on different materials that are used with it, right?
Right.
I think the real research opportunity that you have that is not served by every kind of plastic recycling. There's chemists have written papers about how to do it. You can get the pellets and they can put them in a injection molding machine and make whatever, right? There's scientific research on that. People written PhD about it. I think the key here is really that research is applicable to factories and things like that. But what there is no research on is at local community level, specifically in our community, what the uptake is, what the reuse is, the local connections, right? Because on an engineering scale, these things exist, right? They've been developed. There's process, there's materials, there's ways. But those do not apply to a local model of recycling. Every community is different. Every collection process is different. Every community has its own quirks, different kinds of waste, depending on where you even collect, right? Subdivisions versus farms develop different sort of waste. Strategies need to be implemented. And I think you have a real opportunity here to learn more about, so to say, the local recycling process that I think, out in the open, there's probably not a lot of data. Mterra probably knows because, they collect it. So they're well aware of, what the recycling rates are and what the percentages are. But a lot of that information is, probably private to them because they are a for-profit company, right? But in reality is that you have a unique opportunity to have a, an educational, public, open discussion about recycling rates and learn them firsthand from, local businesses, as opposed to, on the, let's say, what was it, the 9% national recycling level, right? Even asking a question like, well, let's say we have 30 to 40% county recycling rate, right? Is that collection rate, or is that, what a 40% of that material that is collected, let's say plastic that's picked up, how much of it actually gets recycled versus then is fed back into the landfill on a secondary pass, right? There's a lot of questions here that I think are not answered by social scientists and PhD, because they don't really do local studies like that, and you have an opportunity to do so. So I think data that you collect in your work is going to be fascinating when it comes to these things, because again, it feeds back into what the community and the council does, right? Which is, it's like I'm fairly new on this council, but I'm somewhat familiar with some of these things, and just to even know the recycling rates and the waste that is generated, right? Let's say we have two schools and we know that there's a disproportionate amount of X waste being generated by the schools, and then Y waste generated by the nursing home, right? In the community. And we know that, let's say, Mterra does not recycle it. Well, maybe there needs to be either renegotiations at some point when the contract comes up for renewal for recycling rates, or again, these are the things that help the municipality form their strategy going forward for recycling rates, right? Because again, if the goal is to recycle or reuse, obviously, the number one component is data, right? We need to know what it is that we're doing, what it is that we're using, what it is that we're moving, shipping, dumping. All of that is important. And I think you have the unique hands-on opportunity to access that from a perspective that is not available to, a lot of other people, because you approach these on an individual level, like a nursing home, right? You go into the nursing home and ask them, right? We see this on a community basis. You see it on a business basis. And businesses obviously generate a lot of waste of a particular kind. So I think the data aspect of your research would be a fascinating one to see. And I would certainly hope to see some more of that going forward as you grow, right? Obviously. And, and again, the idea that you have, I fully support that, but I would love to see more data.
The one thing I would say to follow up, and I totally agree with you for sure. Some of the businesses that I'm working with right now, I've already talked to them about performing waste audits at their level. So I'm assuming that once I get going, I'll be able to work with these individual businesses and we can generate a waste audit together to actually see at an individual level what that looks like. And absolutely it can move itself over to a school level, and I capture all the data that I collect with whatever I'm doing. So I want that to be available to everybody. So I appreciate and respect the fact that I am about as grassroots as you can be. But that is the unique opportunity that I'm involved with right now, because you're right, there's so much of a big gap. And I feel like there's a little bit, and I don't mean anyone in particular, but the Wizard of Oz with the guy behind the curtain. I'd like to open the curtain up so that everybody can see what's there, and it's going to be for all of our benefit. And just to sort of tie in to a little bit what Lisa was saying as well, is my goal isn't to just profit off of all the plastics that I actually repurpose. It is one small part of the stream that I have. Most of it is about education and outreach. Again, I'm all for what you said. So I look forward to seeing what I can do from that for sure.
Great. Well, thanks, Steve, so much. This has been extremely helpful. I'm going to just wrap it up now because we've probably taken up more time than we had planned. But really appreciate you coming in today and taking the time to meet with us and talk about your initiatives. And I think as a committee, we're all certainly extremely supportive, and we'll, look for opportunities to, support you and look for, as some of the ideas that Kyle brought forth about the transfer station, thinking about Waste Reduction Month, where opportunities may lie for further collaboration. So thanks so much for the work you're doing in the community and for joining us today. And hopefully this is the beginning of a great working relationship. So thanks so much. And I'll just do ask for a quick motion to receive the information in Steve's presentation for the committee. If I could have a mover and a seconder for that. Thanks, Lisa, for moving that. And thanks, Ryan, for seconding it. And Mark will do a quick recorded vote. And then we'll move on to our work plan.
Yep, no problem. Lisa Crawford. Chair Bill Cox.
Yes.
Michael Cole.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Huntley.
Yeah.
And Mike Ryan.
Yes.
It is carried.
Great. Thank you. Well, thanks, Steve, for joining us. And yeah, stay in touch, and we'll reach out as well, when we have a chance to kind of talk further and look at how we can incorporate some of the work that you're doing.
If anybody has any questions as well, obviously my information's there. Please reach out and I'm happy to answer them. And if I don't know the answer, I will find it for you as well. So awesome.
You very much.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on to our I'm saying quick, it doesn't have to be quick, but moving on to our last agenda item of our work plan update. Before we get started, I would just like to take a minute to thank everyone who's been involved in our Earth Day event and our tree purchase program and our rain barrel purchase program, all the communications that were developed. Kyle and of course Bridget, who's not here, and Chris and his team. Just we really appreciate all the extra work that has gone into making these programs a success. And yeah, I'm excited to see what the future holds, and just, really great job. So thank you.
Great job.
Great job. Okay, so moving on to the work plan. I guess we'll just go a quick run through. I think most of it will be from Kyle today. So I'll turn it over to Kyle.
Yeah, I'll run through it quick. Number one, our weather stripping complete. We got a lot of complete. We can talk maybe next meeting on if we want to do that again.
Okay.
That we told David, that's only because we gave them all. It wasn't a hit. I thought it was going to be a good one. Was not a hit, but yeah. Number two, data analysts. Yes, that's done. Number three, energy conservation demand management plan. So right now we're applying for a grant to try to get that funded. They use a consultant like Alatico that we use for the first part because they've done all the backup work. They've given us some quotes on that. So like the funding, it should be that straightforward. And they were, I don't know about you guys, but I thought they were awesome. So
Yeah, I think that they did a really great job, and the information I think will be extremely helpful. One question I just noted down when Mark sent around the agenda is, in addition to the energy conservation demand management plan update, thinking about the CCAP, like our climate change action plan, it's now over 10 years old. The city of Peterborough just revised theirs. Wondering if we want to explore funding opportunities as well, maybe through the Municipal Green Action Fund, or I don't know if I have that right, but looking at opportunities to revise that, and just I think like that would really help from a community perspective, like how we can develop a plan for the greater community to really raise awareness and help people understand all the different avenues that they can do in their own lives to support like climate adaptation and mitigation initiatives. So I wasn't sure what you guys were thinking with regards to that plan. If we want to update it, or what the thought was on that.
yeah, so climate change action plan, there's some changes going on. I don't know how much I can say here at the county level.
Okay.
Sustainability, so we're probably not going to touch that right at the moment until some of that unfolds, but we'll keep you updated on what the changes are happening there. It looks like a good thing. They want to get into more sustainability, but yeah, there's some surveys and stuff on the internet with how they want that to unfold, and we're one of the only townships with a sustainability committee. I think we are in township.
No, someone has one.
I thought there was another one. Yeah, I thought someone had one, but somebody said they didn't. I think that's true, though. I think there is another one, but anyhow, I'd say it's how does the county want to move forward with it? Do they want to establish a committee? Would we sit on it kind of like a county council or two reps or one representative would sit on it? So there's some stuff kind of changing there. So right at the moment, I think we'll put that one on hold.
Okay.
Kind of focus more on the energy plan right at the moment.
Okay.
When do you hear back about the grant for the?
Oh, we don't know. We never know. It's not some, I guess we get a whole bunch of data we gotta get in there for. Hopefully we'll hear back within the next 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when does this need to be updated by the plan? Like it's well overdue, right?
5 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not a real, I mean, there was the mandate to have it. Everybody copied everybody, said it was just to put it on the shelf. We did it. I don't think anybody's gonna come knock on the door because we established kind of this committee to feed into that. We've got way beyond your, low level energy demand management plan by just the work that Alatico did for us. So I think we're well ahead of the game. We're doing stuff that's practical and not just checking the box. So I don't see any issue with, nobody sent us any email saying, hey, you haven't updated your plan, because we're doing the right things to make a good plan. So.
Yeah.
That's my talking.
Great.
Number
Do
4,
that on the mirrors.
I did, yeah. Did I get it right? Number 4, yeah, that's completed. Rain barrel program, I think we have about 15 rain barrels right at the moment.
Okay, and are we gonna cut that off for the year, Kyle, or what's the plan there?
Yes, we have no money left.
Yeah.
And probably worse than that, but, the tree program, just because we had so many, I think I've kind of told you, we made sure we had enough for everybody who came. There's no good spot to cut it off, so. But we did get, we did receive that Enbridge, grant that got us $10,000, so that put us ahead of the game as well. But I think I think we're gonna be okay to fund everything.
Okay,
But we definitely do need to cut off the spending at this point unless we have some major initiative that we want to bring back to ask for more.
Okay.
But I think everybody has got the rain barrels who wants one. We just sold probably 5 today, but,
Did you?
Okay.
yeah, there's still, people are still coming, rain barrels, right? It's just constant.
yeah, well, they're such a great price, you know, and so the 165, is that what we've purchased or is that actually what we've sold?
That's what we purchased, so assuming those will be gone probably in the next couple weeks, the remaining, so. So the 825,000 liters was basically the average that I could find online, of what you save annually, so it's a rough estimate of what we saved or more.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Really good, yeah.
And yeah, nothing but great feedback on the rain barrel program, everybody comes in and grab one is just, you know, has said, such a great program, great ideas, good feedback. Community tree planting program. Again, really, like looking at high level has gone extremely well. Everybody's been really happy coming in, great feedback again. Lots of learning that we've done, so I think, like logistic wise, doing it at this building is a better idea. We were a little worried with traffic, but it seemed to go flawlessly on Tuesday with the second part. Spreadsheets and forms and how we pay, we can talk about that next year when we go. Lots of better ideas to get it more streamlined. Making sure people prepay. You know, we didn't really have a game plan because we didn't know how bad it was gonna be, but all the people who ordered after, I think some of them just aren't coming to pick them up, so we end up having more stock than what we thought we were gonna have, which I don't think should be an issue. There's lots of people who don't wanna buy them, it's just having to water them for weeks and stuff in the meantime is
So you still have that?
we still got about 80, 100 maybe. We have some of every species still.
Really?
Still some maples in there, white spruce, just lots in the back here. So our plan is, we sent out a social media blast to say, if you order trees, please pick them up by tomorrow, by Friday. This was yesterday. And then seeing what we have next week, we were going to send out one more social media blast saying, here's what we have available, first come, first served.
What
Yeah.
I suggest on that one is Canada Day. Just have them out.
If we still got them, yeah.
If you still got them,
Yeah, that's good, yeah,
still on the spot on Canada Day,
yeah, cause that's just Tuesday, right? Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Are you guys doing something for Canada Day? Sorry, I've been kind of undercover not undercover, but you know, a little away from things the last couple of weeks. So is there a Canada Day event planned for the township?
Yeah, there is a CMCC, I think it's only 2 hours long, 3 hours long.
4,
Yeah.
11 to 2.
Eleven to 2.
It tends to be quite well attended.
Yeah, it's massively attended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having the trees sitting there.
Yeah,
Whatever rain barrels are left, they'll go.
yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Sold David?
Yeah.
Well, so.
What were we up to, like 600 trees or something?
Oh, more than that. We ordered 650 initially, I think, and then you ordered more, right, Kyle?
The final number was, it was either 750 or 850.
Wow.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
a lot. And I can't on a lot of those
It
trees.
was even free reign to go over it.
I knew deputy mayor on my side.
We fully support.
He was champion everything.
Yeah.
Worries.
Such a great program. And it was just really great to, like for me, you know, to get the chance to interact with people in the community when we were doing the pickup and just to hear the feedback and just to, you know, kind of understand like what the interest is and really the support is in the community, which I think will be really beneficial for us next year when we ask for double the budget.
That's done with work, that's a lot of trees.
On that subject, to the committee through Chair Bill Cox, I just want to mention that our next meeting in September, sorry, I don't have the exact date off the top of my head. That will be our last meeting for the year, but also because we just passed our budget schedule in our last council meeting. That would be the meeting that the committee ideally should have their budget submission ready. So last year it was $15,000. The summer might be a good opportunity to brainstorm while you're at the beach or wherever you spend your summer. And if you have any questions, I'm sure you can either send them to me and I can get staff to give you the answers, or just bug Kyle, Bridget, or Chris, and they'll be able to help you out directly.
What was the tree, sorry, was the tree planting program, was it a break-even program? Was that the concept of it? We had no budget for it, right? Or did we borrow from our town?
The committee did fund part of it for the Sustainable Community Initiatives fund. There was initial approval of $5,000. I seem to recollect. It's actually in the last committee.
You moved 5 from number 1.
Yeah, I think we ended up kind of
One.
like doing some reallocation with our $15,000.
It's break even, or it actually cost us money.
It cost us money, so it was, I think, the first numbers roughly, this is what it turned out to be, we added some after, but it was about 13,000 for everything.
Mhm.
And then the we just charged the $10 straight off, so that brought us back in probably about 8,000, so it was around 5, give or take how many actually we ordered, so. It might even been less than that of a hit in the end. And again, $10, maybe we could talk about it in September, but do we want to keep the $10? You know, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
And but
Wasn't $20?
10.
Oh, I got
And-
overcharged.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you only get one and you got 10?
You got
I
your
got
stuff on
3 for 60.
Yeah, you should have been. That was it, though.
Thought you got
You
on.
mean Tuesday?
No, I prepaid it the Earth Day.
Did you
Yeah.
come, what,
Huh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
should've
thought
went.
20 was a good deal, so I.
well, it's still a good deal, yeah.
I know, $20 it is.
Yeah, and it was great because we had like one person kind of say who wasn't complaining, they were just like. Kind of saying, oh, I don't know if this is exactly what I was expecting, and there was one guy who just said it straight up, he goes, these are like $150 trees, and I take them or leave.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, it was great that way. But yeah, the other thing that I did miss in all that, because there were so many emails that we didn't foresee, just everybody sending emails asking when they'd be and stuff, there were so many that, so getting that figured out for next year a little bit better, but also when I ended up just replying to that chain that only had the 3 of us, or not the 3 of us, had Amanda on about volunteering on the pickup day, but I realized I didn't have you guys on it, I wasn't sending it to the whole committee, so I also did send it to Ryan. So that's the whole thing, I gotta make sure of next year that when we're looking for everybody to show up, because it would have been a great time to have
yeah,
everyone from the committee there, so everybody can meet everybody, so. That's
Yeah.
one, I dropped that ball on, and a lot of balls I dropped, but.
no, you didn't drop any balls. It was just, the first time doing it and we did our best and we weren't sure what the uptake was going to be. And, you guys have busy day jobs, so we just learned from it. Like you said, next year we'll reevaluate how we can, make some improvements and make it perhaps less administratively like a burden to you guys essentially. And, I think we just move forward and just recognize it as a success.
Oh, it was for sure, I'm just.
Yeah.
It was really good, it was well received, and it brought people to the tent municipal office with smiles on their faces saying, this is great, which we don't always get.
Yeah, you find it right when people come and pay their tax bills.
Here's, you grab your tree. No, it was a great idea, and overall it was fantastic, so.
Yeah. So yeah, great job, everybody. And so I think we don't really have anything on tap for the rest of the year with regards to our work plan. But I would encourage everyone to put your thinking cap on for, as Mark said, for our budget discussion in September, and think about certainly like our rain barrel program and the tree program, they were immensely successful. So what do we want to do with that for next year? And then thinking outside of the box about what other opportunities are there. We heard from Steve, is there opportunities to include some programming, whether it just simply be education and awareness on the township's website with regards to plastics, Is there opportunities to look at other programs where we could financially incent people to make improvements, whether it be from an energy perspective or, looking at their home? Like, it seems like people are really very supportive of and willing to engage in things like tree planting, rain barrels. Do we want to look at opportunities for maybe boulevard gardens or perennial gardens or pollinator gardens? How we can encourage people to do those types of climate mitigation activities. So I think, as Mark said, think about it over the summer and come back to the table in September, or have conversations ahead of that with, what we can look to do for 2026. Because I think we've definitely proven that the community is supportive, the interest is there. So how can we, rise to meet that for next year?
Man, you set a pretty high bar. It's great.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, I'm really proud of the work the committee's done. So I think on that note, if we don't have anything else, Kyle, did you have anything else to add to the work plan updates, or are you good?
Nope, that's pretty much it. Earth Day was, it's already on there and completed, and that was obviously very successful. Lots of lineups for trees, and Steve's was well attended, so I think next year that, just build on that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only one thing I'm going to toss out for you guys to ponder is, do we want to do anything for Waste Reduction Month in October? I know we don't have any budget, so, perhaps that may just be looking at communications, opportunities to, like, do we want to have a recycling day? Perhaps those are things that we can kind of think about, because it's not until October. But, do we want to do anything for Waste Recycle Month, just to kind of end the year on a high with regards to sustainability?
Think about it, I guess.
That'd be a good opportunity to do an educational piece on something.
Yeah.
Do we get any data on, like he said, 9% of plastics are recycled? What is our local?
Yeah, Public Works will have all that, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
the county does publish their waste diversion data on in their council agendas as well. I think it came out in the late winter, early spring. I would have to ask our public works clerk, but I can probably find it myself as well. To you, to the committee, through Chair Bill Cox, I was going to say, if the committee supports this, I would suggest having a motion to add a kind of waste reduction month item to the work plan. Perhaps if there's any intent to do comms materials or anything around that. I don't know if that's merited or not. I just wanted to ask.
Yeah, it could be like 4A under communication campaign.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's do that, Mark. Let's put forth a motion to explore opportunities for communications around education and awareness for Waste Reduction Month, which I believe is in October. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that? Thank you, Michael. And then seconded by Lisa. And then Mark will do a quick recorded vote.
Hold on one second, please. It was Michael Cole that moved it.
Moved it, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, just want to make sure. For a recorded vote, excuse me for 1 second. I have to scramble a random order. Lisa Crawford,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Huntley,
Yes.
Mike Ryan,
Yes.
Chair Bill Cox.
Yes.
And Michael Cole.
Yes.
That is carried.
Great. Okay, then if nothing else, then I will move for an adjournment. And look for.
Sorry, Chair Bill Cox. First, can we just have a motion to receive the update to the work plan, please?
Oh, sorry, I thought that's what I just did. So a
No.
motion. Okay.
Close, but not exactly.
Okay. So could we have a motion to receive the updates for the work plan? A mover and a seconder for that. Thank Michael Cole and Mike Ryan.
And I'll call the recorded vote. Michael Ryan,
Yes.
Chair Bill Cox,
Yes.
Michael Cole,
Yes.
Lisa Crawford,
Yes.
and Deputy Mayor Huntley.
Yes.
That is carried. Thank you for that, Chair Bill Cox.
Wonderful. Now may I call for an adjournment?
Yes, you can. You don't have to ask my permission for that one.
Okay. So could I have a mover and a seconder for a motion to adjourn our committee meeting? Thanks, Michael Cole, for moving that. And then a seconder. Lisa Crawford, thank you. And then do a quick recorded vote.
Michael Cole,
Yes.
Lisa Crawford,
Yes.
Mike Ryan,
Yes.
Chair Bill Cox.
Yes.
And, sorry?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I misheard something. Deputy Mayor Huntley.
Yes.
That is carried.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thanks so much, guys.
Excellent.
Day.
Well
Enjoy
done. No problem. You have a good day, Leslie.
your, take care. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. It's a pleasure meeting you all.
You too.
Have a good one.
Take care.